let's go to Pier Giuseppe Sandoni.
Here's a picture of him. There we go.
Yes. He was the assistant of Handel in London.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes, he was 10 years. He left Bologna. He was 4 times Principe in the Accademia Filarmonica. He was very known at his time. And he's now very known because of his wife, Francesca Cuzzoni. She was one of the prima donnas of Handel. She was his wife. But he was the first who published sonatas in England in 1727. And harpsichord sonatas, and he was a very sought after singing teacher and harpsichord teacher.
Wow.
Now the great thing which I discovered, and I'm really proud of it, Bach knew him, Johann Sebastian Bach. In 1720, when he wrote the Klavierbüchlein for his eldest son, Wilhelm Friedemann Bach, he copied 2 pieces by Sandoni. And I discovered those pieces. One is just a fragment in Bach's manuscript. I discovered those pieces in Cardiff in the Macworth collection. And if you go back to my homepage, you can see my article about these 2 pieces is out in the Bach Jahrbuch exactly. Yeah, you can see the Bach.
Is it in publications?
No, go back to the other. It's
back
on the front page. Yeah.
Oh, it's right here. Okay.
It comes out in 2 weeks. I think it will be out. And I discovered some ways how Bach might have come in contact with Sandoni's music. There were quite a lot of Italian musicians in the surrounding of Bach, which knew Sandoni, and one was the castrato Berenstadt. He owned Sandoni's sonatas in Dresden.
Wait a second. Okay, wait. This is wow. So let's say this again. So Sandoni, he like you said he was the assistant, but what was his training? He's Italian, so
he's Italian. He's Bolognese composer. I'm sorry to leave Naples.
No, this is huge. I didn't know. That's awesome. That sounds like and we actually have first of all, this is your recording. I think we should share this here. This beautiful recording that you did. It's available for people to check out. And we have, what is this? 6 sets of lessons?
Exactly. This was his second print. So Sandoni was very well established in Bologna around 1715. But Handel just opened his Royal Music Academy, which was his orchestra, his famous orchestra. So he hired Sandoni as his assistant and harpsichordist.
Wow. So he must have been a good harpsichord player.
He was extremely good. And he was, I don't know, he must have had a quite difficult character. Here you will find a lot of gossip. In my booklet, I wrote some things down which I found. There you can find, I couldn't find much about Durante, but about Sandoni you will find a lot of gossip. I mean, Handel hired him to go to Venice and bring the prima donna Francesca Cuzzoni, and by the time they reached England it took months, and she was already pregnant, which was quite a scandal at the time. So all these kind of things.
Oh.
But nevertheless, he wrote a lot of music, which unfortunately is lost. I mean, we have no opera surviving by him. We have all the libretti, but no opera. But I found in England, where he lived quite a long time, I found cantatas and instrumental music. Now, if you look at this Chacona, this he published 3 years before he died. He was not in London, and I could imagine he had no possibility to look at the music before it was published.
Okay.
Probably they did something. Now, if you see, it's just it, everything just the same. And what I did, I took this music and to make so many changes as possible. So I will not play all, but first of all, I was thinking, if you repeat something and you have a nice melodic line, you have to answer somehow to this melodic line. That's one thing. Then you see a third voice only in the cadence. It can't be that you have a third voice only in the cadence. So I added, but for me, variation doesn't mean embellishment. It means really adding voices and thinking counterpoints. Like in the Partimento, that means variation. So I show you what I did I play a few variations. And so on. And this you go on until he modulates. If you turn the next page.
Okay.
Again, you see there, it starts up with one voice. So after this, he comes a part in A minor, where I put the arrow, and it's also again no harmony. And so on. It's a bit, it's thin somehow. What I did is I added again voices and harmonies. And now we are in C major. This is one again, changing you. Somehow it's like he gives you an idea, but if you don't develop the idea, it's just poor. Like the next one. So what we often have in this case in the Partimenti, we have a 3 or a 6, and we know, okay, I have an inner voice which goes parallel. and so on.
It's fair to say, right, Nicoleta, that somebody, well, especially a virtuoso keyboardist like Sandoni, I mean, if he had been studying, I guess if he's Bolognese, that tradition, Martini, Mattei, he would have definitely known how to do what you've just done. And this is, it's like a big question mark, right? He leaves it. You'll have to investigate to really understand that he could do this, but it's not really revealed by the score.
Yes, and that's the point. I'm sure most of this music which is printed, and we look at it and immediately say he was a bad composer. It's not true, because it was printed for the large public. No, I mean, people who could not have afforded to have an education but want to play at home for their own pleasure.